Hello, it's the Randy Duck and welcome back for another video, and this time we have the tank review in the new tier 8 premium Italian medium tank, the Prototipo 6. Now funny enough, this is the second time I've made this video, and that is because originally when they released the tank they actually released it and it had the wrong stats. So it basically had 360 alpha rather than the 320 it's meant to have, and sort of worse gun handling. So what they eventually did is they have now fixed the stats, and today, I think this morning, they fixed it so it now has the correct stats it should have had when it was released. So I've managed to get the replays for you today, and what I'm going to do before we get into the replays, I'll just briefly go over the tank and some of my opinions, and then we'll get into the games and you can see what the tank can do. So what is this tank? Obviously a tier 8 medium Italian tank. It has decent-ish mobility, about 50 kilometers an hour, which I guess is kind of average for a tier 8 medium, but it does get to that top speed pretty nicely. You then got a 320 alpha gun with sort of average DPM. I think I've got a DPM of about 2,557 with my setup, which is kind of average for a sort of 300 alpha sort of gun. And then you got 8 degrees of gun depression, so it does allow you to play those ridge lines. Not as flexible if you've got like a 10 degrees, but still pretty flexible. And then you got 224 penetration on your standard rounds with 1030 shell velocity. That's on your standard AP rounds. Your premium APCR rounds, you've got 268 penetration, which is nice for a tier 8 medium, and with 1320 shell velocity, which is really good. And then what you do have, which is really underrated on this tank, is HESH rounds. You've got 105 penetration on your HE HESH rounds, which is really nice, with 420 alpha, and you can pick up quite a lot of damage with those rounds. So that's something just to be mindful of. And then other than that, the concealment on this tank's not great. I think with my setup, because I do run the concealment net to make it better, I've got it down to about 300, which is okay, but it really isn't amazing, to be honest, for a medium tank. You'd expect it to have more than that. And as far as armour, the armour's... it's not great. I wouldn't rely on bouncing shots, to be honest with you. It's fairly weak armour, but what you do have is some good angles. So if you are using your full gun depression, you can bounce shots, especially when you're at tier 8, but I wouldn't rely upon it. So that's a brief overall, and then I will get on more of the tank and my opinions, but let's just get onto the replays and we'll go over it as I speak. Okay, so on to the first replay then, where we are on mines. There's 2 enemy fun police, aka artillery, and 4 enemy light tanks, and we are top tier. Now if you want to see the equipment and crew setup I run in this tank, you will see it at the bottom of the screen as I speak. So initially on mines here, we have decided to push quite aggressively down to sort of the ridge in front of us, because we're going to have cover from the 1-2 line. And because of the spawn setup or mines on this current spawn, a lot of the team are going to push down the 8-9 line, or you might catch a couple of tanks out up the top trying to get to the hill. So especially that having the cover from the 1-2 line there, we hopefully should be able to pick up some tanks, maybe get some assistance, and try and get some damage. So we start off quite nicely, and that enemy tank destroyer gets taken out pretty quickly. And now we've got this enemy SU and medium tank to deal with. With this tank, I run the concealment net over stabs, but you may decide you want to run stabs because the tank gun can be a little bit derpy. I found it okay. I can get on with it enough so that I want to run the concealment, just because the tank itself, I feel like it needs it, otherwise the concealment is very poor, and I do want to boost it as much as I can just to make it a bit more reasonable. So decent start to this game. We're in a good position where we can try and use our gun depression, stay hold down as much as we can, and just try and get some shots in to this medium. But now our light tank's gone in, he's going to turn him here, and this is going to allow us a window of opportunity to get the damage in. Got to be careful with the Sturm on our left hand side, but we're just at the moment focusing the one tank, because once this tank's destroyed, we should be able to get on and get more damage out of this game. He is now a one shot. Hopefully we should have the finish here. He turns his turret, gives us a side shot, and we pick up our first kill of the game. And now we may be able to get a shot into that enemy Sturm. I don't really want to eat one off of him. Unfortunately that bounces, but yeah, I could have shot lower, but I was trying to avoid it in the shot. But as the Sturm backs up, I am going to move in, just get shots into this light tank and just push aggressively to win the hill. Because as you can see, we're starting to dominate this game, and if I want to get more damage out of this, I'm going to have to play aggressively here. So I know there was one tank on the hill, I think it was a Stone Cold, and he's got enough hit points that I can just win the race. Even if he's reloaded and he puts 2 shots into me, there's nothing else on the hill, so I'll be able to take him out. So I do get my 1 shot in, puts him onto a 1. He is off of reload now. I'm expecting to eat 2 shells, but he actually bounces 1, which is quite nice because that means we only have to eat 1 shot in order to kill him. Putting us on to about 3,000 damage with 2 kills, and now we have confirmed the hill position. We're going to spot over and see if we can get any shots into any tanks. Now we do spot this enemy Bellathorn leaving. We squeeze 1 in, don't roll quite high enough to kill him unfortunately, but we do have shots. There's an enemy KV2 here at the bottom. He's not paying attention to us. We put 1 in, but then we back up because obviously we don't want to get penned by the KV2. One thing I should actually have said that just reminds me is the side armour is very weak on this tank, which means you can't actually side scrape very well. That's something to bear in mind of. His tanks have a 120 gun. They're going to overmatch you from the side. So that's just something just be a little aware of. But we get another shot into the enemy heavy tank. Again, we don't roll high enough to kill him, unfortunately, but we may get a shot. We're just trying to find the angle, maybe to get a finishing shot on this enemy artillery. Just struggle with the gun depression a little bit, and unfortunately that shot derps and hits the rock in front of us, which is a shame because we would have picked up a 4th kill on the enemy artillery there. KV2 is playing very, we're not going to get a shot into him now behind that building, so we've given that up. We're going to go and try and shoot the enemy Bellathorn, see if we can pick up our 4th kill of the game. Unfortunately, we do miss that shot, which is a shame. We're just going to reposition to have a better shot at him, and hopefully we can finish him off there, and we pick up our 4th kill. And that is the end of replay number 1, and we finished that off with, just over 4,000 damage, about 4,200, 4 kills, and picking up the first class there. So a decent first game to start. We have 2 more replays, so let's move on to replay number 2. Okay, so we made it to replay number 2, this time on Sand River, and it's a tier 9 matchmaking this game. There's 1 enemy light tank and 1 enemy fun police in the game, and from this spawn we are going to initially go to the middle ridge, see if we can spot anything crossing and get any shots in and get any early damage, and just get a feel for the game to see where the enemy team are playing. So that's the initial plan as we start this game. You can't really use this ridge as well from the other side. So this is what we do. We go up, and some tanks do get spotted. We try and put 1 into a double shot there as he moves, but we can't take time to aim that shot correctly because we need to get back into cover because there could be a lot of tanks on the other side looking to shoot us. Enemy front police is alright on cue, they're looking to shoot us, but as you can see we've kind of sent most of our tanks to the other side, and this could be a little bit awkward for us because there was quite a lot of heavy tanks got spotted in that riverbed, and if they push up aggressively we're kind of dead here, to be honest, because I don't think we're going to be able to escape, and that is what they do. So we decide that we're going to have to just try and run here, even if we're going to eat some damage for it, because we were definitely dead if we stayed. At least now we've got a chance of surviving. We do eat 1 leaving, but thankfully it looks like we may actually be able to escape, because there's not too much in the north to get shots into us. And thankfully we lose our spot and we're able to escape there, picking up a tiny bit of assistance as we leave. But I'm glad we made that decision. I think if we would have tried to run the other way, 4 heavy tanks looking at us, we've only got sort of 1,350 hit points, unlikely to survive that engagement. So we got out there just in time, and now that means our tank's still in the game, and we might be able to put ourselves in a position to help maybe shoot those tanks as they try and cross. What I really want to do is kill this huntsman, because then I can take that huntsman's position, because looking at where all the teams are, enemy team are, there's a lot in the middle. I suspect they've still got a couple of tank destroyers in their base, they usually do. And if I could take that huntsman's position, I think I'd be in a good situation to use the ridge lines to my advantage to get some shots in. But that huntsman needs to die, and I can't cross at the moment because it's like this T30 here. So I'm just going to do what I can do to try and get some damage into this T30. We do pick up some more spot assistance, and that T30 gets put onto a 1-shot. So I'm just trying to find that kill shot, but he actually gets killed by our T30. That gives us the green light to try and cross and see if we can just kill this 1-shot huntsman, who seemed to be alive for too long there, to be honest with you, considering he had no hit points. So we're going to try and do something about that and get rid of him here. So We do in fact pick up the kill. We get shot, but we discover that other tank that shoots us is leaving and also on the one shot. So we're going to try and push into this river, into these dunes area to hide from the tanks, which are quite clearly in the enemy base. As you saw, the shots that did come through. We do spot this panther there, which is nice, and then we get a shot in and duck back into cover, and we're going to try and to see if we can get any more shots into this panther if we're lucky. Didn't quite have the gun depression to get down and shoot lower than his turret there, but we pick up some nice assistance, and we would have had a kill, but he gets killed by a friendly Iron Rain. And again, this game is sort of turning into our favour, so we need to try and push quickly if we're going to get any more damage out of this game with only 7 tanks remaining. But we have picked up a juicy bit of assistance, and my theory is here, if we spot the cross, the risk of me driving across there early was well worth it, because we picked up a lot of assistance in order for doing that by spotting these tanks in the base. And we put a nice shot into that enemy tank destroyer, and we lose our spot, and we've also spotted the enemy Thumplies. So we're getting some more shots in there, a little bit of revenge for shooting at us earlier. I'm going to go for a blind shot because I suspect he's still there, and we do in fact hit it, putting us under 2,000 damage, 2,200 assistance, 6 tanks remaining. Again, this very much feels like this game's won. I'm just going to try and extend this view range here. As we push across, we spot a tank destroyer on our left, and as well as tanks in the middle. The tank destroyer on our left is an enemy T-30 there. We just seen it's actually full health. So I could go in and engage him, but I'm also thinking I might just go and try and get some shots on the other tanks which are in front of us. Try and snap the enemy TD on the right on the move there. We don't manage to connect a shot, but we might be able to get a shot into this Jake Panther 2 here. We go for a blind shot, and we do in fact hit it, and now there's only 3 tanks remaining. So we're going to try and help out our friendly light tank who's engaged this enemy Jag Tiger here, who is pretty healthy, so it allows us to get some shots in. Now, one thing I should have done here, as you see he gets tracked in here, if I would have swapped to the Hesh rounds, I would have picked up a big more juicy damage here, because I could have penned his rear with 105 penetration. So that's something to note, something I didn't do. I haven't really had a lot of games in this tank since it had its stats change, and I wanted to get these videos out for you quickly, so I haven't had any like really crazy high damage games for this video, purely because I wanted to get the replay out so you could see the tank as quickly as I possibly could. But we'll still have a decent game. 1 kill, 3,500 assistance, sorry, 3,500 damage with 2,500 assistance, and 1 final replay to come, and I'll see you over there in a bit. Okay, so here we are for Ghost Town then, and we are top tier again, and there's no enemy fun police for us to deal with this time. This, I think, was the first game I played in this tank since it had the correct stats. Like I say, I played quite a few tanks in it when it had the games in it, when it had the 360 alpha. I've got some really nice games, but they were kind of pointless showing you because that's not how the tank was intended to be. So we have these games for you today, and Warm Ghost Town, and this year we're going to push quite aggressively to the B3 line, and just because quite often some light tanks and stuff go there quite aggressively, and we can get shots in the cross, and that's actually what's happened here. So we're going to squeeze a nice shot into this enemy light tank here, putting in, bouncing a shot as well, and maybe we'll be able to get a few more shots in before he actually leaves here. So we're going to try and do that, try and avoid the snapshot back from him, and so far so good. 2 shots, 2 pens, and we're going to see if we can get the finish on him before he actually leaves, and we do, and that engagement has worked out really nicely for us. So we picked up a kill, picked up a couple of pens, and we're going to continue this push down this side, because I think the enemy, the rest of the enemy team have sort of pushed the other side. It kind of at least feels that way. We do confirm our 2nd kill of the game on that enemy medium tank as he leaves, and we've definitely sort of won this area of the map, so I need to get a bit more aggressive. I actually quite like Ghost Town as a map because it's quite, it's symmetrical all the way around, and you can kind of use it to your advantage to sort of use the map to work out where you need to flank round, where you need to move back, and it's quite good, quite a nice enjoyable map for me at least. We do get a nice shot into that light tank as he leaves, and you can see I think most of the enemy team are kind of moving towards our base at the moment, so we need to bear that in mind. But I know there was a couple of isolated tanks on the 8 line, and we're going to see if we can try and get some rear shots into them as our team sort of engaged them. I was just looking for a shot there. Got to be careful there wasn't enemy tanks on the ridges on the sort of K sort of 8 area, so I was just sort of seeing we could spot that area out. But now I am going to try and get in and try and kill these 2 tanks quickly, because the enemy team are definitely winning the other side, so I need to kill these tanks fast to allow our team to start moving up. So we put one into the Chiri there, and we back up into cover, because I spot a huntsman looking to engage us on the other side. He looks like he's going to come in, and he's going to put one into us. We just decide to out-trade him there with having a higher alpha, and just wait for this reload to come in, and we can hopefully try and deal with this huntsman now, as the other tanks look like they've been taken out. So we are going to push this huntsman. It's still a relatively close game at this stage. We do have the advantage by 2 tanks, and I've still got a lot of my hit points. We're going to see if we can get a shot into this huntsman, maybe track him in place, which would be nice. We do in fact get a shot through the drive for what tracks him in place, and we started to pick up some track assistance from our friendly team. So that shot worked out quite well for us there. We managed to pick up sort of 600 assistance of track. And now at this stage of the game, it's just about, again, getting in this battle. I'm going to try and see if we can just get to this ridge in the middle. We can probably get some side shots onto this medium. Just trying to create different angles, just makes it easier rather than your whole team pushing the one way. We do eat a shot, but we're able to trade that shot back out nicely, putting us onto, well, just shy of 3,000 damage now with 2 kills. And yeah, we're still, I guess the enemy team have brought it back. It's all pretty close. They put a tank in the cap, but we have tanks close enough to get the reset at the moment. I'm going to try and focus these tanks in front of me whilst the damage is available. Put one in the tank crossing, and now we're going to try and put a shot into this Borsig, who I believe has fired and should get taken out now, and that is exactly what happens. Don't quite get the reload in time to shoot that Panther crossing. Again, we have the advantage. It's 30 seconds on the cap, but if you look how close our team are, I suspect they are going to be able to get the reset, so we don't have to worry too much. You would like to think they would get the reset, but crazier things have happened. So I kind of gambled on them getting that reset and tried to push for the damage here on this Panther 88. And I do get the one shot in. Maybe I should have gone to the cap, might have got a bit more damage as they were healthy. But it's hard to say, we had so many tanks going in that way. The other tank running this enemy Vanguard, I didn't fancy chasing him straight away. I was going to see if we could get a shot into that enemy tank and just pick up an extra kill here. But that's not going to be the case. It is just this Vanguard remaining. And I'm on about just shy of 4,000 damage with 2 kills and 600 track assistance. But we've got to chase this Vanguard. I have no idea how many hit points this Vanguard has left. Hopefully it's full, and hopefully we can get a couple of shots in just to boost this game. As you say, I've had decent games, but like I say, I imagine if I play this tank a bit more, I could get some bigger games for you to show you. But I just wanted to get this replay out quickly so you could actually see it, because it only got the rebuff changed today. So I know it's been out for a little while, but it only got changed to correct stats today. So we do get one shot into the Vanguard, puts us on 4,200 hit points. Again, probably should be using the Hesh here really, because I would have actually killed him, because I could easily pen the Vanguard with the Hesh. But not to worry, we at least get 2 shots into him and puts us on to about 4,500 damage. And the Vanguard does eventually get taken out. And that is the end of the video. So let's see how we got on. We got 4,500 damage. We got 2 kills and the first class. So what do I think of this tank? I think it's a very well balanced tank. If you're looking for a tank which is incredibly overpowered, that's not this tank. It's more of a balanced one. I actually still like it, to be honest. I quite enjoy playing it because it's balanced. And I had a lot of fun playing it, but it is a tank, like I say, if you're looking for a really overpowered tank, that's not this. This is quite balanced. And there's other mediums which are better than it and play very similar. So there is that to bear in mind. But for me, I enjoyed it, and that's probably the best way I can describe it. So anyway, thanks so much for your support, and as always, happy tanking.
Enemy in sight! Hadouken!